Yes, good afternoon people. Another quick video. Today I want to discuss how the government and mainstream media deliberately use the divide and conquer tactic to keep us at odds with each other. It's important to recognise this manipulation and not fall into the trap of blaming each other for the problems caused by the government. Before I get into it, share, comment, like and subscribe. In recent years, we have faced numerous challenges that have greatly affected society. From the devastating impact of the COVID pandemic and subsequent lockdowns, to the rising cost of living, high interest rates, low wages and the expensive food prices, it is clear that many are struggling. The energy and housing crisis have only added to the burden, along with immigration issues, inflation, public sector strike and a crumbling NHS. On top of all this, there is growing concern about the so-called climate crisis, chemtrails and the presence of GMO foods, and the threat from space, aliens. To make matters worse, our government's questionable decisions, such as using taxpayer money to fund foreign wars, the PPE scandal, contracts for friends during the COVID pandemic, and partying while we were locked down, have eroded the public's trust. And now we are hearing about a new threat, Disease X, rumoured to be 20 times more dangerous than COVID. How do they know this, we might ask? It's just another one of those mysteries. Some speculate that it may even be man-made in a lab, although this is mere speculation. There have been discussions circulating about us potentially preparing for war with Russia. It feels as though we are constantly living in a state of fear. Throughout the COVID pandemic, those of us who utilised critical thinking skills were unfairly labelled as conspiracy theorists. We refused to blindly accept the government's narrative and instead question inconsistencies. However, as time has passed, it has become evident that the concerns we raised were valid. Many commentators are now openly expressing concerns about the use of the shots. However, we should not forget that these same commentators were previously advocating for anti-vaxxers to be imprisoned and barred from flying and God knows what else. They wanted us to be treated as outcasts in society. Those who dismissed us as wearing tinfoil hats and delving too deep into the rabbit hole are now beginning to question the integrity of the system. They even had us clapping and banging pots and pans every Thursday night at 8 o'clock in support of the NHS workers. This display of control over us is truly concerning. Have we forgotten that we willingly accepted lockdowns, even sacrificing the ability to see our loved ones in hospitals and care homes? We were not even allowed to see our partners if they did not reside with us. Yet during this same period, 6 Premier League teams proposed a Super League and the football community erupted in protest. This highlights the extent to which some of us have been brainwashed. We were complacent about being locked down, but as soon as our football teams were threatened, we made our voices heard. It is a stark reminder of our priorities and how some may have cared more about Super League than enduring over a year of lockdown. It's time for the masses to wake up. We are constantly bombarded with distractions such as the Super Bowl, football, boxing, UFC, rugby, concerts, social media, Netflix, reality TV and alcohol and drugs. These diversions serve to keep us appeased and ignorant of the pressing issues at hand. The famous quote, "Give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt," still rings true in our modern society. It is disheartening to see that despite the overwhelming evidence and constant reminders, some people remain oblivious to the real problems facing our world. Some of us are fully plugged into the system and need to be plugged out. The powers that be have a vested interest in keeping us divided, whether it be through race, religion, sexuality, or even our stance on vaccination. As long as we remain unable to find common ground and come together, they can maintain their control over us. It's no surprise that they will stop at nothing to ensure our differences continue to drive us apart. Sadly, we have become so easily manipulated and distracted that we constantly fall into their trap. It is evident that racism continues to be a prevalent issue in our society, but it has become more subtle in recent times. Instead of openly expressing their racist views, people now tend to hide behind the anonymity of the internet. Social media platforms also seem to turn a blind eye to this problem, ultimately contributing to the division and discord among us. In reality, we are all in the same boat and should be working together instead of against each other. It's the age-old tactic of divide and conquer. And I'll end with this. We may have our differences, but it is essential that we come together for the greater good. However, our government and the mainstream media have perpetrated deep-rooted issues that make it difficult to put those differences aside. It's crucial to see beyond what the media portrays and remember that our fellow citizens are not our enemies. We come from different backgrounds, religions and identities, but we're all facing these challenges together. Only when we stand united can we overcome them. As the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. Let's not let our differences divide us. Let's come together and work towards a better future for all. Thanks for watching. Share, comment, like and subscribe. Out of here.